After years of waiting, the RNC finally installs a new leadership. What is up, people of the internet? It is me, Real American, back again with a new video. And today, we finally have news out of the RNC because everyone, the RNC has just installed new leadership that finally is putting the party in the right direction. Listen, I don't care who you are, Ronna McDaniel was a complete disaster as RNC chair, and well, she is finally gone. Now, before we continue with today's video, I hope you enjoy these type of videos. If you do, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Again, folks, all support is greatly appreciated, and yeah. Now, let's get right into it because finally, after years of Ronna McDaniel, we finally got people with at least a half a brain at the head of the RNC. Now, again, we all know people are not going to be happy the fact that Trump picked Laura Trump as the next co-chair. I understand that, but at some point, would you rather have someone like Laura Trump as co-chair or keep Ronna McDaniel around for God knows how much longer? Donald Trump cemented his control of the RNC on Friday after members formally voted to install his hand-picked candidates, including his daughter-in-law, in top roles at the party. Now again, you knew someone like Laura Trump was going to be the co-chair, or at least, you know, in a high position. Because Trump wants someone that's loyal at the RNC. I mean, let's face it. The RNC has not necessarily been the most loyal to Trump. I mean, they held like 5 different debates when, in all reality, Trump was going to be the nominee no matter what. And really, you don't want that type of philosophy in a critical election when everyone knows Trump is going to be the nominee. You decide to host these nonsensical debates and that probably hurt the party more than it helps? Like, really? Michael Whatley, chair of the North Carolina Republican Party, has been named the new chair of the RNC, replacing Ronna McDaniel, whom Trump pressured to vacate her post. While assembled for a hastily called meeting in Houston, the committee also installed Laura Trump, the former president's daughter-in-law, as co-chair, and agreed by acclamation to consider Trump to be the party's nominee, which, in my opinion, this should have been dealt with after New Hampshire. Maybe even after Iowa. I mean, the fact that they waited this long to declare Trump to be the nominee when he won every single contest before Washington, D.C., not by 1 or 2 points. He was winning everything by double digits, and the longer this primary kept going, more resources was being spent. And hell, Nikki Haley wasn't even trying to win Republicans. She wasn't even trying to expand the party. What she was trying to do was borrow Democrats for a day to vote for her as a way to stop Orange Man. I mean, most of you probably don't know, but when you vote in a primary, especially in, say, New Hampshire or whatever, they know which primary you voted in. That goes into the voter rolls. And when that happens, right, that becomes data the RNC would potentially use to try to win those voters over. And when they see this voter that has voted Democrat for 30 straight years, but suddenly voted for the Republican primary, well, they would maybe think, this is a new Republican. Let's try to spend resources on winning that voter. In reality, it's just a partisan Democrat voting for Haley to stop Orange Man. And that's a problem because they're going to spend God knows how much money just trying to target those new voters, when you could be targeting the independent voter in Wisconsin that might not be registered. They're going to focus on these new Republicans that aren't really Republicans. They're just Democrats. That is going to cost millions of dollars to sort through that. That's a lot of damage, especially for the RNC where they're out of money. In his acceptance speech, Whatley said the RNC will work hand in glove with Trump's campaign over the next 8 months to improve the party's get out the vote efforts and to support the sanctity of their vote, which I think they should have been doing this for a year now. I mean, the fact that now the RNC's realizing, wait a minute, we should be working with the campaign that's gonna be the nominee. Maybe we should do that instead of hosting 15 different debates that no one cares about, that we all know who the nominee is gonna be. This should have been done a couple months ago, especially after Iowa and New Hampshire. That after that happened, the RNC should have said, right now, we are going to work with the Trump campaign. We declare him the presumptive nominee. Haley should just drop out, whatever. We don't care about what she does, but she should drop out. We're going to focus on helping Trump win. If a dollar that we have is not directed towards winning this November, that dollar will not be spent, Whatley said. A remark that was echoed by Laura Trump as she held up a $100,000 check she said she had just been handed for the RNC. And we need this thinking. I mean, the RNC should think like a business. It really is a business. If the money is being wasted on something that won't help the business succeed or make even more money, don't spend it. You're wasting resources that could be used on something else. For example, the RNC is notorious for spending millions of dollars on limousines, flowers, God knows what else, probably gambling. Either way, that money could be spent on getting new voters in the Republican Party in Wisconsin, in Michigan. They might not be registered to vote. So let's spend some money on trying to get those new voters to actually vote. While picking a family member for a top party role is not standard protocol, it is not unheard of. Ronald Reagan's daughter was elected co-chair of the RNC in 1987, and it is typical for a president to select allies to run party operations and ensure support from the National Committee. So yeah, this isn't the first time this has happened. Ronald Reagan of all people, which by the way, a lot of these people worship on Twitter, they don't talk about that Reagan picked his daughter to be the co-chair. But now it's a problem that Trump picked Laura? Really? I honestly do not care if it's a daughter or a son or whatever. Grandson, doesn't matter. If the person is good at his job, hire him. I understand that you don't want family members and everything, but based on everything I know about Laura Trump, she seems to understand we need an early vote operation. We need to fix fundraising. We have so many issues at the party that most of the RNC won't admit that she's talking about. But Trump's decision to announce a new slate of RNC leaders before securing the required delegates to be the GOP nominee angered some Trump critics both on and off the committee. He did so in February, when Nikki Haley was still running for president, and she criticized both the RNC and McDaniel for trying to push her out of the primary. Well, guess what, Haley? At that point, you lost Iowa, New Hampshire, Nevada, South Carolina, Virgin Islands. I think even Michigan at that point. Then you lost Missouri, Idaho. You are getting wiped out. So, gee, I wonder why the RNC decided to make Trump virtually the nominee. They wouldn't declare it just yet, but they began to work with his campaign a little bit after Michigan, after South Carolina. RNC members accepted Trump's proposal, paving the way for the committee and Trump's re-election campaign to work in lockstep as a raise money determined messaging for the general election. And that's a big thing. The RNC at this point in time, before they declared Trump the nominee and began to install his people, they technically couldn't work with the campaign as much as the DNC was working with Biden. For the past month or so, there has been a push within the RNC to declare Trump to be the nominee, because at that point, they could really start to get into high gear for the general. While the committee previously spent money at Trump's legal bills, his campaign officials have said Trump will not tap the RNC to do so moving forward. The committee is struggling financially, having had its worst fundraising year in a decade, and entering 2024 with less than half as much cash on hand as the DNC. McDaniel recently touted to members that the committee's fundraising improved in January and February when it brought in a combined $22.5 million, which, yeah, it's an election year. No shit that's going to be better than in, say, November of 2023. Yeah, because more people are starting to get ready for the election. McDaniel served as chair longer than any RNC leader in modern history, getting elected to a fourth term in January of 2023. Trump picked McDaniel to lead the RNC at the end of 2016 after winning the presidency, which I still think was the biggest mistake Trump made. I mean, McDaniel was fine before like 2020, but after 2020, and especially during 2022, she was not good as RNC chair. The Republican Party struggled electorally during the 7 years that followed, with the GOP losing 40 House seats in 2018, losing both chambers of Congress and the White House in 2020, and underperforming in what was predicted to be a red wave in the 2022 midterms, which, again, 2018, that's not her fault. That was just a blue wave. They still gained seats in the Senate. 2020, they did gain some House seats, but yeah, they did lose the Senate. But 2022 was really what destroyed McDaniel's reputation. I mean, the fact that the Republican Party does not have both chambers right now, let alone large majorities in both of them, is pathetic. McDaniel briefly became emotional when she discussed her family support after Trump chose her to take the role as RNC chair, and she lauded changes made at the party while she was in charge, including the creation of WinRed online fundraising platform, growing the RNC's email list from 3 million to 50 million subscribers, and engaging minority voters and bringing them into the party. McDaniel cited GOP gains in 2022 with Asian, Hispanic, and Black voters. That wasn't because of you. That was because of Trump. Trump is the reason that Republicans were able to win these voters. Not by pandering. Yes, he did pander a little bit in 2020. But just by having good policy. The RNC's minority outreach sucks. It absolutely sucks. I mean, they have these outreach centers, yeah, but you look at where they're located, it's like the whitest parts of Bakersfield, for example. I mean, look it up. I mean, their minority outreach centers are not in downtown LA. There's maybe a couple of them, but many of them are not even in the parts they're trying to target. Their outreach is garbage. Instead of talking about policy, they're talking about pandering, which is not the way you win these voters over. You win them by talking actual policy, not, oh, Democrats are the real racists. That doesn't work. So either way, I am glad we finally got new leadership at the RNC. This should have been done, 2 years ago. But I'm glad we finally got someone with a brain at the RNC. Michael Whatley and Laura Trump. I think both of them will be good at their job. Now, we just got to see if they could somehow turn the ship around in 8 months. I think they can, because 8 months in politics is a very long time. Things could happen. Maybe something crazy does occur. Who knows? Anyways, folks, thank you so much for watching. If you guys did enjoy this video, smash the like button down below, subscribe, share with your friends, hit that little bell, follow the social media accounts in the description down below, and of course, join the channel today. Thank you so much. Godspeed to all of you.